According to studies done by NASA, carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere are higher than they have been in the last 400,000 years.
A large portion of this increase is due to human activity. The main human activity that emits CO2 is the combustion of fossil fuels for energy, such as coal and oil.
The United States is the second largest producer of carbon emissions after China. Data collected by the Global Carbon Project states that the United States is responsible for 19% of the CO2 emitted from burning fossil fuels.
Right now, our power plants are the source of about a third of America's carbon pollution. That's more pollution than our cars, our airplanes, and our homes generate combined. That pollution contributes to climate change, which degrades the air our kids breathe.
Candidate Ben Carson disagrees with these statements, stating that climate change doesn't really exist. However, environmental scientists believe that rising amounts of CO2 can have disastrous effects.
So, increased carbon emissions lead to global climate change by warming our environment. Carbon-containing compounds can also be a component of smog. Air quality decreases and it causes human health issues such as increases in the rates of asthma and other respiratory diseases. So as we move forward, I think there's a lot of debate, kind of where we want to go as a country, where we want to go as a people. Do we want to continue to be a society based on fossil fuels and invest energy and resources into technologies to extract fossil fuels, or is that money better spent looking at alternative forms of energy that are cleaner burning and would cut down on the carbon emissions?
English teacher Mr. Porter has experienced some of the effects of non-renewable energy while living in China.
The air quality was pretty bad in China. The smog was really thick, so people would have to wear the mask over their faces, and you see a lot of people with asthma. A lot of my students had asthma when I was teaching there, and it was rare to see stars or a sunny day or something like that because it'd always be smog. They'd have hazardous days where they couldn't go outside, or it's not advisable to go outside and play if you're a kid or something like that. But yeah, those are some of the effects of the bad air quality. If we had clean energy, it would be much more helpful.
Clean energy should be easily accessible since it's all around us. Presidential candidate Hillary Clinton agrees, saying, "If we come together to make the hard choices, the smart investment in infrastructure technology, and environmental protection, America can be the clean energy superpower for the 21st century."
Developing renewable power, wind, solar, advanced biofuels, building cleaner power plants, smarter electric grids, greener buildings, using additional fees and royalties from fossil fuel extraction to protect the environment and ease the transition for distressed communities to a more diverse and sustainable economic future.
Solar power is one of the most sought-out renewable energies. It's accessible and free. Solar power can be distributed to homes, schools, businesses, and requires no extra development to the land or surrounding areas.
Many people would argue that solar installation is costly and overpriced, but the price of a solar panel has dropped more than 60% since early 2011. And the price of wind power is down more than 50% in the past 4 years.
There are a lot of good reasons to go solar. Actually, we find that installing solar is more cost effective, in other words, cheaper than buying your electricity from the power plant or from the utility company. Most of the solar systems going in these days are paying for themselves in about 7 years. And they're figuring lifespan to be somewhere around 100, 200, 300 years. They really don't know how long these things are going to last. There's no moving parts, so it's kind of like a window. As long as it doesn't get broken, hopefully it'll continue to make power for a very, very long time.
We're so excited. We're getting our solar panels installed today, and so not only will we be able to power the whole house on sunbeams, we will be able to drive to work and do all our commuting on solar energy. And it just seems like the right thing to do. I don't want us to be part of using more and more oil. I mean, you think of all the things that oil money is used for nowadays, everything from terrorism to pollution, and this is a way for us to be part of the solution.
Candidate Bernie Sanders introduced the Solar Initiative Act, providing $200 million in Department of Energy loans and grants. This helps offset the upfront costs associated with installing panels on community facilities and low-income family homes.
Another type of clean energy is wind. Wind energy is similar to solar in that it's free, renewable, and does not cause pollution. Some criticisms are noise pollution and the aesthetic appearance of the turbines.
Does anyone see how, honestly, unsightly those huge wind turbines are on some of the most beautiful hills?
Candidate Donald Trump disagrees with the installation of wind turbines next to his golf course, stating that it would destroy some of the natural beauty of the world and have a serious negative impact on tourism.
California alone, wind power plants offset the emission of more than 2.5 billion pounds of carbon dioxide and 15 million pounds of other pollutants that would have otherwise been produced.
Some policies already exist supporting the use of clean energy. The Obama administration's New Energy for America plan aims to invest $100 billion into the clean energy industry, creating 5 million new jobs. The goal is to have 25% of electricity come from renewable sources by 2025.
Fossil fuel and utility interests concerned about the rise of cheap clean energy are financing attacks on pro-clean energy policies to delay the growth of their competition. And special interests tied to the fossil fuel and utility industries are spreading disinformation about the cost of clean energy.
Bloomberg report, it stated that the global investment in renewable power plants has exceeded investment in fossil fuel plants for the first time ever. Clean energy use is increasing, but not as fast as it should be.
It is now time for the candidates to discuss a plan that would increase the amount of clean energy accessed across the United States.